Vaesen is a game I've been pitched a couple of times, but never with a shining review. There's always something someone seems to dislike about it. Something different for every person, though. But I've found that very interesting. Looking into Free League's Nordic horror role-playing game forced me to confront something I wasn't really fully prepared to. My extreme hatred of Scandinavians. I think it's a problem at this point, but I'll push past my dislike for them and tell you about this game. If we're trying to be simple, Vaesen is a horror game, a very particular kind of horror game. Not a grindhouse rock and roll anthem, or Hellraiser nightmare scenario, or some kind of post-ironic A24 movie about feelings. This is a Gothic horror? I guess that's the best way to kind of think about it. Slow, more monstrous. But it's hard to find a line between what the monster is and what the man is most of the time. Vaesen are, at their most basic, a supernatural creature of the land. Note how I don't say monster either. They are just there. We don't call bears monsters, but when one starts stealing picnic baskets or eating people, then we start calling them that pretty quick. All of your characters are part of the Society, a relatively old group that's fallen to ruin and only recently been reborn. Your goal is simple: keep the peace and shoot anything trying to violate it. The game is set firmly during the Industrial Revolution in Sweden. You're not walking around with machine guns and cell phones, but old rifles and maybe a rapier if you've got some money. It adds to the atmosphere, something Vaesen oozes. The harsh industrialized cities and the old places where the Vaesen live. When those two worlds clash is where the Society finds itself intervening to keep the peace. But we're not talking about atmosphere, we're looking at a game. Vaesen borrows heavily from Free League's Year Zero engine, the relatively simplified dice pool variant. Namely, the only success is a 6 on a d6, meaning that checks are getting a bit more complicated. Making characters is simple though. Pick an age category and then an archetype. Regardless of what you are, you'll be working on a very tight budget. Let's make a simple hunter, for example. Each of these archetypes have a main attribute, a main skill, a smattering of talents and equipment, with some resources to buy more. Each of the 4 attributes can only go up to 4, unless it's your main attribute, precision for the hunter's case. Then it can go all the way up to 5. Skills only go up to 2, unless it's your main skill, here ranged combat, then it can be 3. That's it. With every check being an attribute plus skill roll trying to hit 6, anything less than 6 dice is a little bit of a gamble, especially when you may need more than 1 success. You may be working with very few dice in certain circumstances, or be completely flush with them due to items and talents adding more options or dice to your pool. Vaesen is what I would describe as a low roll, high impact system. Bones only really should hit the table when they absolutely have to, and that's only because something is directly opposing you. Do you need a roll to read a book? No. Do you need to roll to break down a door? If you have 3 or more physique, don't worry about it. Shoot a stationary target? Don't bother, and so on and so forth. But if that target is sprinting at you at full speed trying to eat your face, then yeah, roll precision plus range combat and pray. If it doesn't go your way, push beyond your limits and push that roll, allowing you to take a condition to re-roll every failed dice. If you fail that, well, you also get a condition, and they are pretty bad no matter what. Each condition is a -1 to all dice involving that pool, and then taking 4 of the same type, physical or mental, means you're out of the fight and take an injury. Injuries are common, frequent, and most likely lethal unless you get really fucked up. Then get ready for some prophetic visions from beyond the grave and almost dying. And that's kind of an overview, a very quick overview, because most everything else feeds into that core investigation loop. Here's the thing. Do I like Vaesen? Not really. It's not my kind of horror personally, though I do agree it is interesting to fish out some ideas from. Is the game bad? No, it's fine. It's good even. The system is a little bit rough for people coming off of other games in the similar genre or from other games entirely. It's very rigid in some respects, but very loose in others. Mixed with some failure-prone characters unless they are in their complete element, and it can be a little bit odd. But it has enough short-term and long-term appeal for most. It's a game about investigation first and foremost, with something like combat being that last resort rather than the first action you do. If you do want that heavy action game, then the cover with a man holding a gun ready to shoot a nightmare woodland creature probably deceived you a little bit. It's Gothic horror, a quiet and contemplative, with shocks of extreme violence and fear. It's not my thing, but it may be your thing. My name is Notepad, and this was Vaesen. If you like what I do here, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Many thanks to Society of Bankrollers for their continued support. Godspeed and good luck.